folks, welcome to race number 7 of Race to Zero Hour. I'm your host Sarthak, and alongside me usually is Gouts, but today he's taking a sabbatical of sorts, so it's just going to be me here in the comms box, and soon enough we'll be beginning shock qualifying of race number 7. And folks tuning in, make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already. Before we head into shock qualifying, I believe 17 drivers will be all set to race around the Marina Bay Street circuit, and I can't wait. Usually a track that makes sure brings a lot of action for our viewers, even in the Bwoah Racing League, another one of our titles that we host here in RoadRunnerRacingCo Esports. And of course, with that, we head straight into qualifying. And if you can see on your screens, you'll know that it's rain for shock qualifying. I don't think Singapore's a track that's accustomed to much rain. But then again, it is the Formula 1 2021 game. Yeah, we have begun. 18 minutes of shock qualifying begins. Expect issues with the stream itself and probably with my audio. Please be polite enough to point that out. We got 17 drivers out on track. Some of them pretty much... all of them have raced in Race to Zero Hour once before, at least, except for this man, Vix356, who will be coming out soon enough. It's his first time out here on track for Race to Zero Hour ever since we started in the first week of January. And yeah, BRL, however, Bwoah Racing League, he's a familiar face. And of course, for those of you looking at Mr. Nuclear there on the board, that is Streeter, two-time race winner here in Race to Zero Hour. And we got a spin already in the first part of the track. That's an Aston Martin, so it is sickening. So I'll be looking at chat to ensure I have company for that matter. It's a brilliant Tuesday night here in India, Bangalore. And the bunch of drivers out on track, however, is from all around the world. And we hope to see some impeccable action. Of course, the rookies out on track. It's only Assassin X who's come out on track. He's been showing promising performances. We've seen him battle it out with the top 5 ever so often. But every now and then he does slip up, and that costs him the race. A new experience, perhaps a wet qualifying session for the likes of Assassin X, and as you can see, a few drivers out on track wagering with intermediates, one of them being Mr. Wex. It's his favorite track in the calendar. He thoroughly enjoys the game. I believe he had uninstalled it after issues of its own that he faced, and he's back. He managed to reinstall it, and he's back out on track for race number 7. Quickly see folks watching. For you all watching, make sure you drop in the chat which driver do you think will take pole position out around Marina Bay Street circuit. And of course, Fanatical in the chat mentioning wish he was there, stepping away from Race to Zero Hour for a couple of races for his own reasons. And yeah, we wish you were here too, because finishing counts for everything. All 20 positions, award points, receive points as part of the series Race to Zero Hour, so finishing counts that much more. Helium, we've seen banger laps from the likes of Helium once before, more than one occasion in fact, and hopefully we'll see that translate into a podium position yet again, perhaps. Of course, quite the competent drivers out on track already, UK being one of them on full wet tires. Let's keep the tire data out on the board. Just under 15 minutes left to shock qualifying. Not a single lap time on the board, but a bunch of drivers on their quote-unquote fast laps. Of course, Mr. Wex going through sector 1. So let's stay on board. The driver who is definitely the only driver out on track who definitely loves this track more than anybody else, compared to anybody else. A banger lap time, usually in the top 5 from the likes of Mr. Wex. What you can expect as he loses the rear out of Sector 1 is banger lap times from the likes of Black Sheep, Dalvin as well. I believe Dalvin clearly mentioned that this track is the closest he can get to a home race, considering he is from Malaysia. So yeah, he'll be looking to win this race. Pretty sure UK was motivating him pre-race as well. Yeah, still drivers out on track on intermediates doesn't mean they'll have the fastest lap times out there. You can see Mr. Wex losing his rear in most parts of the track. Let's stay on board with him what kind of lap time he'll be setting. And I wonder which driver will be the first one to set a lap time. I see a blue dot on the track map coming along the finish line, so that could be Abhi. And not a single lap time just yet. No, he heads into the pits, and that was a red car. Nope, nobody just yet. There you go. It's Abhi after all. 1 minute 58.179. Best lap time so far. The first lap time on the board as Assassin X in the wall, in fact. And hopefully he's not lost front wing. That'll stall him for quite a bit. Mr. Nuclear. 1 minute 58.917. Slower than Abhi. UK goes third fastest with 1 minute 59. There you go. First proper lap time on the intermediates. 1 minute 56.012. The likes of Envy, and as Mr. Wex comes along the line, it is second fastest for the man. Oh, we should see a bunch of more lap times come on to the board soon enough. You can expect great things from the likes of Dark Legacy, Assassin X, and Baby Shumi as well. I believe one of the drivers did set a lap time. Full wet tire lap time from Mr. Nuclear. No, that was set already, which means Andre on the intermediates go 1 minute 59.183. Baby Shumi's lap time definitely not his best. 2 minute range. I don't think so. Dark Legacy seems to have retired from the session. And could it be an on-track retirement? Doesn't seem like it. Or could be. Doesn't seem like it. Let's leave it there. So without a lap time, Dark Legacy will be starting P17 come the race. Of course, support coming through from folks in the chat for Andre, who's 6th fastest. Will be looking to get into that top 5. He's done that once before, already in race to 0, I believe, in Mexico. And that's a spin for Baby Shumi. And definitely damage on the front wing as he rejoins the track, straightens the car to head into the pits. Vix356 and Assassin X will be coming out on the intermediates. Let's stay on board Assassin X as he comes out of the pit lane. Big man Joe, fast lap. We see no time. And yeah, he just started a fast lap, but moving incredibly slow. So clearly not going to be a proper lap time. His teammate for the day, Derp, also completely slow in sector 1. So let's stay on board Hyrox24 as he comes across the final corner and across the line. 8th fastest, almost a 2 minute dead, but a 2 minute flap on 174 on the full wets. Seems like a lot of sectors lighting up yellow. All 3 sectors, in fact. Still haven't seen the best out of some of the really good drivers set a lap time with the likes of Black Sheep, who just has begun a fast lap of his own. He's in the Haas. Last minute entry for today's race as Andre goes 2nd fastest, as I mentioned once before. Top 5, not too far-fetched for the man. Pole from behind, says Fanatical. For whom? For Dark Legacy. Yes, you pointed that out right. 1 minute 56.012. The time set by Envy is still unbeaten with 10 minutes left to shock qualifying. Stay on board, Black Sheep. This could be the lap that beats Envy's lap time. Mind you, he's on the intermediates as well, just like the top 7 out there right now. And soon enough, we'll see lap times from the likes of Helium, Vix356 and Assassin X as well as they come out on their out laps. Seems to be the curbs don't have the kind of effect you'd expect from the curbs over at Spa-Francorchamps. And as I say that, Sick Nick goes 3rd fastest, so it's the Aston Martin boys doing well out on track, regardless of the conditions on track. And I wonder if we'll have a wet race as well. But yeah, sitting 3rd fastest now is Sick Nick. Let's stay on as we stay on board Black Sheep. He's entering sector 3. It's his first lap time on the board, so we don't have any kind of precedence. 1 minute 34 and counting. Oh, completely wide, nicks the wall as well. That completely destroys his lap, I'm sure. I won't be surprised if he heads straight into the pits. He slows down completely, unfortunate for him. Assassin X, however, on a fast lap of his own, We've seen him qualify in the top 10 in the past couple of races. He'll be looking to replicate that result in qualifying today as well. Can he? Is the question, which we'll find out soon enough. Vix 356 on a fast lap of his own. I believe one of the drivers did have a spectacular jump. Could be Dalvin, 6th fastest out on track. 1 minute 58.281. Sector 3 lights up yellow. That's a slow moving Aston coming across the finish line soon enough. Yeah, that lap time from Envy still remains unbeaten. Next the wall, Vix 356. Meanwhile, the highlight, of course, about this track is that it is pretty tedious for the drivers, even regardless of the fact that it is sim racing. I believe they were groaning after a couple of 5-lappers themselves, so a 25% race distance race will take its toll as well. So, going into the race itself, it's not just about being clean into turn 1, but also making sure you end up finishing, brave it through the set of laps set for the race. Helium still hasn't set a lap time, starts his fast lap in fact, so let's stay on board with him and probably get to see a banger lap. I believe Sector 1 should be rather clean for drivers at race start, but going into Sector 2, that's where things get tricky, I like to imagine, and I know a rather tricky corner in Sector 3 as well. Wet race is what we want, says Fanatical. Yeah, I'm pretty sure me included will thoroughly enjoy a wet race. However, drivers not so much. Oh, the rear kicks out quite a bit for him, and Envy goes even faster. 1 minute 52.140, so the conditions are changing. Come the last couple of minutes to short qualifying, we might just see even faster lap times. Right now, Envy is sitting 3 seconds quicker than the closest driver, Dalvin, who's managed to jump from 6th fastest to all the way to 2nd fastest. And yeah, just under 7 minutes left to short qualifying to end. Folks watching, make sure you drop in the chat. Who do you think will be out on top come end of qualifying? Purple Sector 2 for the man Helium. So you can expect top 3 in qualifying up until now for the man as he enters Sector 3, as long as he keeps it clean, doesn't slip up the way Black Sheep did. We did see him go into the wall in this specific part of the track, gets the corner pretty well done. Black Sheep does, however, go 2nd fastest as we just talked about him. 6 minutes left short qualifying. That 2nd fastest lap time got picked off real quick by Mr. Nuclear, and I won't be surprised if his teammate for the day picks that off again as he comes along the final corner. Helium, how quick do you go? No, he picks it off of everyone. He's the fastest driver out on track currently. And with it, rightfully timed, I guess, but unfortunate regardless. We seem to have encountered issues of our own. Soon enough though, we'll be back in the game. Meanwhile, folks, make sure you drop in the chat who you're here for to show your support. Yep, folks, soon enough we'll be back in the lobby. Hopefully we haven't missed much. Helium was the fastest driver out on track as we face an unfortunate disconnection. This game has its way with things, doesn't it? Yep, we should be back. Yeah, hopefully we're in and we'll get to see the cars out on track once again, unless it's it's just disappointing yet again. Okay, thankfully we have. And with Dark Legacy having retired from the session, nothing's changed as such. Unfortunately, we don't have the board on our screens, and seems like we don't have control over anything either. Okay, which means we will return after a break. And we should be back. At least I'd like to hope we will be back. It's race number 7, a race to 0 hour, folks. Once the fire lights go out soon enough after the end of short qualifying session, the drivers will cross the finish line at midnight Indian Standard Time. And we should be in soon enough. Hopefully we'll be joining in the last 2 minutes of short qualifying, seeing the best of the best times being set out on track in under wet conditions. Don't you forget. And we will see. Last time as we disconnected, it was Helium on top of the board itself, fastest car out on track. And yep, we join in for the last minute of short qualifying. So a bunch of drivers coming out for their final out laps and their final fast laps. Hopefully it is not yet again a repeat. And seems to me that Abhi has retired from the session, so it's sickening. So maybe it is a glitch after all. Perhaps. Okay, disturbing visuals on my screen. Regardless, stay tuned, folks, as we rectify this. And folks, we will be back racing. We're all set to go. Should be ready as the grid's being made, and I believe we do have the qualifying results. So for now, you hear it out of me. Let's quickly look at it. I believe Helium did hold on to that pole position after all. And yep, that's Helium starting in P1. He's received pole position for race number 7, a race to 0R. Right alongside him will be Envy, and on the second row it's Mr. Nuclear as well as Big Man Joe. So it's Derp and Andre locking out the third row, followed by Sicknig, Wix356, Dalvin and Abby to wrap up the top 10. And of course, you could say in some ways this is well, pole for the latter half. Black Sheep starting P11 alongside Hyrox 24. Assassin X right behind Mr. Wex, having to sell lap time that couldn't that wasn't the best, let's just say. It is his track, as I like to call it. Hope to see that translate into a good race result. Maybe a proper climb from P14 all the way to P1. Who knows? UK right behind him, and Dark Legacy, Baby Shumi as well. Baby Shumi having gotten disqualified, so he'll be starting behind Dark Legacy. So it's not Dark Legacy at P17 after all. For now, we're good to go with the race itself. It's a 25% race distance race, which means 15 laps of racing. Anything can happen, just like any race, and hopefully not too many safety cars, as it's become some sort of a habit or a ritual of sorts here in Race 0 are at least 2 to 3 safety cars. Unfortunate, but it is racing after all. Yeah, folks tuning in, this is the Race to 0R, race number 7. And soon enough, we'll be out racing. So no wet race. It will be a dry race, of course, in the night, considering it is Singapore. And yeah, fortunate Gouts couldn't stay with us here. I'm pretty sure he would have had his own fair share of opinions about the track itself, and of course about the drivers, as he's gone wheel to wheel with most of these drivers in the Bwoah Racing League. So he really knows their strengths and weaknesses out on track, especially Singapore. I believe back in season 4, in fact, it was KDB and Big Man Joe neck and neck, or was that season 3? Could be season 3. General Pepe was involved with KDB in season 4, of course. We saw them battle it out for the title itself, and we saw things get heated even in Singapore for that matter. Hopefully we'll get to see quite the action out on track as well here today. Yeah, for the folks joining in, it is the formation lap. Of course, predicted pit stop strategy says medium to softs and hard to mediums. Of course, mind you, none of these drivers have set a lap time on any dry tire. They've set it on intermediates. So yeah, it's free tire choice from the front to the back of the grid. And let's just have the track map on, and that should be good enough right after shock qualifying. To start off with, Envy and Nucleus begin on the mediums, so Big Man Joe and Derp can capitalize on that, going into sector 1, sector 2 and sector 3 of lap number 1. Don't worry folks, I haven't gone anywhere. It's just that I'm wrapping up some work on the other side of things. Of course, this is the kind of work that remains hidden, as I usually have a co-commentator running you through the track itself. But yeah, unfortunately it's just me for now. Baby Shumi starts in P17, and he's got Dark Legacy for company. UK, surprisingly enough, has Mr. Wex for company. So you can expect battles at the back of the pack as well. You got Black Sheep holding up the drivers who we will see go wheel to wheel just like any other driver on the grid. Andre and Sicknick, teammates for the day, will be starting long right behind, one after the other, you could say. It's P6 and P7. So yep. Gotta love the formation lap though. It's when the nerves start kicking in for the rookies maybe, and even with the league veterans, you could say that they're prepping for one hell of a race. It's race number 7, race 0R around the Marina Bay Street circuit. Yeah, let's quickly have chat. Hopefully I haven't missed much. XC56 says, oops. Oh, seems like I've gotten kicked out yet again. Unfortunate. Not my day, folks. Not my day. Looks like we will be missing out on lap 1 at this rate. Hopefully we get in at least to get the tail end of lap 1 in on time. Apologies for folks joining in. You know, this is not the best of experiences stream wise. We'll work on it on our end ahead of the next race, but for now we are stuck with this. We're on lap number 1 of race number 7 of race to 0 hour. Hopefully we haven't missed much. We can get in at the right time. Probably sector 2 and 3 is where we'll be jumping on. Yeah, looks like we are in. Let's hope we get in at the right moment. Yeah, we got lap number 1, folks. We do have racing out on track. Helium holds on to that race lead, and not much battles up in front, but in the midfield, however, it's almost like a DRS train soon enough will be forming. Our closest driver in the top 5, of course, is Andre on Big Man Joe, as around the outside peaks Derp, and he'll be stay on the gearbox of Andre as he made the pass stick on the likes of Sicknig, and down the inside he should have the move done going in the next corner. They stay wheel to wheel, Derp and Andre. I believe there was a bit of contact as well. This should open up an opportunity for the likes of Sicknig to close in. Of course, Derp's going to stick to the gearbox of Andre going into the next couple of corners. Of course, right behind it's Black Sheep on Assassin X, and that's a slow-moving Aston Martin. Who's that? That's Sicknig losing 4 positions in one sector. I wonder if he had a bit of contact with the wall. Black Sheep up into P9, Assassin X as well. Helium says the fastest lap time, and the race continues. Mr. Wex gets the pass on the likes of Sicknig. Dark Legacy with a brilliant lunge down the inside. The likes of Hyrox24, and so does UK follow him through that part. Hyrox24 is coming back for his position, however, while Vix356 right behind picks up 5 seconds in time penalty. UK now on the gearbox of the likes of Dark Legacy. Because this is what you like to see out on track. Let's make sure we get the track map on our screens as well to ensure we have an idea what's happening up and down the grid itself. Sicknig, of course, has headed into the pits because he would have had damage, I'm sure, as Black Sheep. I believe there was contact as well during that battle with the likes of Assassin X or Mr. Wex, but he has rejoined into track. That's him ghosting for now. Soon enough, we will have full racing for Black Sheep. Up ahead, Big Man Joe sits firm in P4, followed by Andre and the likes of Derp, who's actually falling behind compared to the last time we were on board him. Let's quickly jump back to Black Sheep, who's on a charge now as he closes in on the likes of Hyrox24, someone he's raced against on more than one occasion in different leagues, and now he's on the gearbox of Hyrox24. Going in the next corner, a lunge down the inside. Perhaps this was the part of the track where Andre and Derp were wheel to wheel. This time Black Sheep says not right now, we'll bide our time. And soon enough, he will slip up. And yes, he did. The rear locked up for Hyrox24. Now they're wheel to wheel, just like Andre and Derp. And now he's gotten the position of Hyrox24. And now he's threatened for position by the likes of Vix356. Oh, okay. A lot of positions being changed as one of the drivers go completely wide. That's Mr. Wex not having his day out on track. A track he thoroughly loves as he locks up, goes back onto track on his way into the pits. Unfortunate for him, he's got terrible damage. An end plate missing, in fact, picks up a 3-second time penalty in the mix. Up ahead, Derp on the gearbox of Andre yet again. So this battle is going to continue for a couple more laps until Andre gives up on holding up Derp. Let's quickly have tire data on our screens. It's down the inside. Will he lunge? No, he holds back. He did peak, did attempt. But we'll have to hold back. Big Man Joe now on to Nuclear, and they were almost wheel to wheel. This opens up an opportunity for Andre himself, who's threatened for position from the likes of Derp. So it's a 4-way battle, you could say. If things go his way, Andre is poised to get 2 positions on the straight. But right now, it's all a play for these drivers. Up ahead, Helium's pulled off a gap of over a second and a half. And same with the likes of Envy. And as we go through that corner, Big Man Joe lost his rear and he's lost 2 positions as well. And now Derp up ahead of Big Man Joe and Andre into P4. So Nuclear now can ease himself a bit, considering Andre is over half a second away from him. Let's jump to that battle at the back of the pack. Abhi on Baby Shumi on Vix 356. So we aren't short of action after all around Marina Bay Circuit, as the back of the pack have their own battles. Vix 356 goes wide, touches the wall as well. Baby Shumi biding his time, hoping for another slip up to play into his favor and get a position sooner than later. And of course, three-way battle of sorts. Abhi waiting and hoping Vix 356 and Baby Shumi tangle, and perhaps two positions on the straight. Vix 356 goes completely wide. Baby Shumi spots an opportunity, will line up alongside him as well, and into turn one they go. Baby Shumi will take a wider line than usual to ensure he holds on to that P13. And let's go back straight to Big Man Joe, who's on the gearbox of his teammate Derp, who loses a bit of traction at the exit of Sector 1. But yeah, it's Assassin X as well on UK, so no short. We're not short of action, as I mentioned before, folks. It's back to Vix 356 as he lines up alongside Hyrox, Baby Shumi, in fact, and down the inside he lunged, went completely wide. Surprised he didn't get a penalty, but definitely a warning as he spins. Baby Shumi spins, and Abhi picks off that position. He was waiting for something like that to happen, and it did. He was hoping for two positions. He got one, which was fair enough, pretty easily for that matter. Up ahead, it's Hyrox 24 taking it to Dark Legacy. Because Dark Legacy having disconnected, so that position should come sooner than later, and rather easily as well. You can see the gaps extending for over a second now, with the shortest one being between Hyrox 24 and Dark Legacy's AI. But let's jump back in the front. It's Andre keeping it within a second of Nuclear, and Derp keeping it within a second of Andre. And okay, that's Hyrox 24 trying to make the move on Dark Legacy at the back. Derp picks up a 3-second time penalty in the mix. We're on lap number 5. It's been clean so far, and this is what you like to see, good clean racing. Dalvin, however, up in a P7, and as I say that, has headed into the pits. Let's quickly jump to him. What will be the call in strategy for Dalvin? Let's see, he's gone 4 laps on the softs. He's the first of the soft runners to pit, and he will be fitting on a set of new hard mediums, in fact. He'll be coming out on track, perhaps P14. Yes, he will be ahead of Baby Shumi. Stay on board Abhi within half a second now of Vix 356. 3/10, and should be able to pick up this position and take that fight to the likes of Dark Legacy soon enough. And up ahead, Black Sheep on Assassin X, as even Abhi takes that position off of Vix 356. Seems to me we've lost both. Yep, we missed out on both overtakes, unfortunately. But yeah, P8 for Black Sheep, P12 for Abhi. And what a gap he's pulled off, Abhi. Over a second now, Vix 356 seem to be struggling on 4-lap old softs. Almost nicks the wall. That's a race-ending crash if he goes into the wall in that part of the track. He's down in P13. Will be looking to head into the pits, but up ahead, that gap hasn't stayed for long, has it? Envy now almost within a second of the likes of Helium. Mind you, Helium's on a similar set of tires as Vix 356, so maybe he's hurting in his own way as well. He's leading this race. He's got track position. This is when he's hoping for a safety car of sorts. No, he heads straight into the pits, and Envy will take the race lead on lap number 5 as Helium gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Not something you want, especially when you're contesting for podium positions up in front. But that's a position each for the likes of the top 5, perhaps the top 6 even, as Derp heads into the pits as well. Black Sheep up in a P6 now. Hopefully Dark Legacy has returned as well. As jump back to Abhi, who's on a charge of his own. Should be able to get that position even before Dark Legacy reconnects. Hyrox 24 has headed into the pits as well. All coming out on a fresh set of mediums. And Big Man Joe still out on track. And out of the top 13 drivers, he's the only one out on track on a set of softs. 5 laps even. Gouts showing his support for the likes of Andre out on track. He is running P3 and we've lost time interval, so hopefully we don't miss battles of any sorts. Let's quickly scan up and down the pack itself. No two drivers seem to be within a second of each other. Of course, Dark Legacy seems rather close to Abhi. Abhi having made the move stick, in fact, while Dark Legacy's AI was in control. Unfortunate for Dark Legacy not having to show his best in the initial part of this race, but he's still got 9 laps left. He can show his magic. Then Baby Shumi as well closing in on the likes of Dark Legacy. Dalvin has come on P12. He's got Derp on his tail. So a mighty battle to look forward for. 3-second time penalty for Mr. UK out on track. Fortunate for the likes of UK. First one in the top 6 to receive a time penalty. And how Big Man Joe are bearing with those 5-lap old softs, I wonder. Let's quickly switch back to him. And as I say that, he heads straight into the pits, nurses the car through into the pit lane, making sure he doesn't receive a time penalty like the likes of Helium, who's come out in P8, running P8 now. And there you go, we've got a couple of time intervals, and we've got Andre within a second of Nuclear. Yes, folks, let's stay on board. Andre, of course, at the back of the pack. That's Big Man Joe coming back onto the track behind Derp. So he's gotten himself in the mix of a battle, perhaps. Derp, Dalvin, as well as Baby Shumi not too far off. So yeah, all within a second of each other. As Andre closes in on Nuclear ever so more. He's now 6/10 off of Nuclear, who's over 4 seconds, almost 5 seconds off of Envy, who's got clear air and leading this race on lap number 7. Let's quickly jump to Derp. After all, now he's closer than ever, just like Dalvin's closer than ever to the likes of Baby Shumi. Soon enough, we'll see a battle unravel here in the midfield, folks. Let's jump to Hyrox 24. I believe that was contact between Derp and Dalvin, as I quickly switched cams, and Hyrox 24 around the outside now. Or not. Hubby holds on to that position, P15, for that much longer. Yeah, this battle is going to pursue as well. Now, quickly back to the likes of these drivers. Derp seemed like he was ever so closer to the likes of Dalvin, and now he's within half a second of him. And so is Big Man Joe closing in on that half a second range. Up ahead, Helium closes in on the likes of Black Sheep. Two incredible drivers as well. You gotta love it on lap number 8. So we've gone beyond the halfway point of this race already. Good to see all 17 drivers out on track as Dalvin picks up a 3-second time penalty. Assassin X picks up a 3-second time penalty as Helium makes the pass stick on the likes of Black Sheep, and that's a crash for Black Sheep. He's spun, lost an end plate. He's going to try and rejoin the track. He will as well. Let's jump to Big Man Joe, who's now 3/10 closer to the likes of Derp, who's trying to keep it within 2/10 of Dalvin as well. Up ahead, Helium, Assassin X making that pass on Black Sheep, having had that incident. And of course, there's DRS for all these drivers. Dalvin closes in on the likes of Baby Shumi, closer than ever around the outside. He goes Derp as well, looking to capitalize on this part of the track. Dalvin has a nasty exit. Baby Shumi coming back for his position around the outside, perhaps not, loses one, loses two perhaps. Big Man Joe has contact with him, has to hold back for a bit longer as he closes in now down the inside. Should have it done, and he does. Up in a P11 he goes. Baby Shumi now having the greatest of days out on track here at Marina Bay Circuit. The race continues with Derp charging on to Dalvin. Up ahead, it's Black Sheep trying to regain the positions that he's lost. Let's go back to Derp, and down the inside he peaks. Not the first time. Complete lockup from Dalvin. He's lost that position to Derp. Big Man Joe taking it carefully. He knows Dalvin's not in the greatest of positions right now. On lap number 9 locks up yet again Dalvin. This is an opportunity here for Big Man Joe, and soon enough he should get the pass made. Up ahead you can see Derp dive down the inside of Black Sheep as well. He's up in a P8 now. There's no stopping him. Dalvin trying to make a pass on Black Sheep, and now they're just going to be held up that much longer. This is brilliant for Derp. Black Sheep ghosting, surprisingly enough, after having contact with the wall. Dalvin goes up in a P9. Big Man Joe up in a P10, has DRS as well, should close in enough to make the pass stick. 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane for Black Sheep as he enters for a change of front wing, I presume. Unfortunate disconnection for the likes of X356. Let's jump back to Baby Shumi, who's trying to close that gap to Big Man Joe close ahead. There you go, Big Man Joe waiting, just biding his time. I believe he had a rare lockup as well. Dalvin holding on to P8 now. The closest thing he can call to a home race for him on lap number 9. It doesn't seem like he can get that coveted podium position he was hoping for. 3/10 now between these two drivers. Closest to out on track as, there you go, it's Derp on Dark Legacy around the outside perhaps. Almost wheel to wheel. Abhi picks up a 3-second time penalty, however. So yeah, it's the Red Bull boys, closest drivers to make a move. Dark Legacy, of course, recharging his battery, and down the inside goes Derp. Should have it. Contact, bit aggressive coming from Dark Legacy. And in the same part of the track, we will not see Big Man Joe lunge for a position. He will hold back. He's playing the long game here, isn't he? Oh, that's completely wide from Dark Legacy. Should get a position at the top 3 pit, I presume. Helium will retake the race lead after 9 laps on the mediums. We see a bunch of drivers pitting. Fresh set of softs. A last mile run, you could say. 5 laps on the softs. A good number of laps on fresh set of softs. They can make UK, Andre, Nuclear and Envy, but it's all eyes on the likes of Big Man Joe on the main straight. Has to hold back yet again on the likes of Dalvin. You can see those penalties getting racked up by the likes of drivers heading into the pit lane. Folks, the last 5 laps are going to be absolute banger. You can see the rear wing open up as he's got DRS Big Man Joe closing in on the likes of Dalvin. He's been this way for the past couple of laps and will continue to remain the same. It is Dalvin how in front. We've seen his performance at Suzuka, the way he managed to get that line bang on in the final lap, ensuring he gets that race win, not threatened for position by the likes of a close competitor. But now Big Man Joe has his hands tied, doesn't he? He's got UK closing in, who has a nasty incident with the wall, bit of contact as well, who's late braking incredibly. Mind you, he's on a fresh set of soft tire advantage, rightfully so. He's out on P8. He wants to climb up the order real quick. He wants to fight for podium position, and Big Man Joe and Dalvin both in his way. 3-second time penalty for the likes of Baby Shumi on lap number 11. Ever so close now. UK now within a 10th of Big Man Joe, has to hold back. Sector 3 at the exit of Sector 3 come the straight itself is where the opportunity exists for the man, and we'll see him pick off a position or two, or he gets it well in advance on Big Man Joe. So next up is Dalvin. He set his sights on him. Will have DRS as well. Now I'm looking at Big Man Joe. Doesn't have what he needs, but Dalvin is threatened for position. Stays on the gearbox of Dalvin. UK, he didn't lunge. There's contact between the two. Okay, they're ghosting through each other. Unfortunate for that, but UK will close in. Contact this time. I believe there's proper contact between the two. He's pushed him straight into the wall. Dalvin will have a word with UK right after. It's cost him a position as well. Big Man Joe now around the outside, up into P7. He couldn't do it by himself, but he did get a good amount of help from the likes of UK. Opportunistic for Big Man Joe. He'll have his eyes set on a couple of other positions up ahead. Dalvin now is doing damage limitation in P8. You can see the gaps extended over a second from the likes of all the drivers out on track. But on lap number 11, closest two drivers is Andre and Nuclear. Andre closing in on Nuclear, who is Streeter, in fact. So should probably stick with Streeter instead of Nuclear. But then again, this is a 5-4 podium position. Two closest drivers on lap number 12. Helium's got a brilliant 7-second gap to Envy, so he has nothing to worry about. But Envy's on the soft tires. 3 laps, can he close that gap? That's a huge ask from the likes of Envy. But then again, it's all eyes on Andre as he's got DRS. Will close in on Nuclear. Will stay as close as ever. So the next DRS detection zone is his opportunity. There you can see it, late breaking into every corner. These two drivers not giving up. Nuclear making sure he deploys every ounce of that battery power he can, but he's threatened for position. Down the inside goes Andre. No, it was around the outside he attempted, but has to hold on to P4. Mr. Wex not having his day here out on the track. He loves that much. And Nuclear staying as close as he can to the walls, ensuring he has that gap to Andre. Derp now closing in on the likes of UK, close behind. And you can see Black Sheep on the likes of Abhi as well. Now this is an opportunity for Andre, perhaps down the inside. No, he's going to stay behind. As we can see, Baby Shumi getting that pass on Sicknick perhaps, but it's Black Sheep on the likes of Abhi. Derp has retired from the session as we stay on board Black Sheep, who lunges across along the outside of the likes of Abhi. And let's stay on board the Assassin X. Full safety car on lap number 12. We might just end under safety car this race. Oh, you can see Derp out on track. Unfortunate for him, he's retired in sector 2. Completely out on track. No front wing either. Drive-through penalty for speeding under safety car for Assassin X, who we were on board. He can get that removed. So it's all to play for come the last lap. We might just have one lap of racing, folks. One lap of racing. Meanwhile, mind you, we've had Helium pit for new set of softs. He will tumble down the order. Envy takes the race lead under safety car. And there you have it, folks. You see the safety car. Soon enough, we'll have a safety car restart on lap number 14, presumably, or on lap number 15, in fact. So this gives an opportunity for a bunch of the drivers to pick off one or two positions. I wonder what's going through Helium's mind right now. He had pole position, the lead of the race, and also up until the safety car, he also had the race lead. So it did seem like he can bring it home, pull it through, and on those medium tires. But now he's on a fresh set of softs. 4 drivers to worry about for that race win. Drive-through penalty for the likes of Baby Shumi, and boy oh boy, Gauts is missing quite the race out on track. To think each one of these drivers are going to be closer than ever to the other come lap number 15. There you go, folks. Envy leads this race ahead of Streeter, ahead of Andre and UK. Helium now on fresh set of softs. UK is aware of this, I'm sure. Safety car in this lap, so much earlier than expected. And this is what we like to see. We get more racing. Essentially 2 laps of racing. At race number 7, you can see these drivers weaving as much as they can. Drive through for some, likes of Assassin X and Baby Shumi receiving drive through penalties. You can see in the top 5, it's just Andre and UK both with 3 seconds worth of time penalties. 5 seconds for Nuclear, not something you want to rack up, but it's a severe collision with the likes of Andre. So I wonder if it can be removed. Right now, looking good is of course Envy and Helium. Both of them clean in the top 5, no penalties, but Envy has track position. Helium has 3 drivers on track to pass. There you have it, folks. We're gonna have racing to the line soon enough, and there you go, Envy. He's exiting sector 3 as we speak across the final corner. We've got safety car restart, folks. There you go. He's pulled away quite a bit. Andre tries his best to close in. UK seems to have fallen behind. Helium is closing in on those fresh set of softs right behind in the midfield as well, all within half a second of each other. And let's stay on board Helium because he's poised for the most positions to be picked off on the penultimate and final laps of this race. As quickly back to the midfield, you can see the drivers all within half a second of each other. Stay on board like the Black Sheep, who's been picking up position one by one in the latter half of this race. Dark Legacy joining us for the last couple of laps. We got Andre now on the gearbox of the likes of Nuclear. UK trying to close in, but he's left up for grabs from Helium, who's gotten the better exit, will line up alongside him and should have the position come the next corner. Down the inside, he lunges. 1 is done, 2 more to go. He's on lap number 14, Helium, and he's on a charge. All eyes on Envy, though, as he leads this race on lap number 14. He's not worried about Nuclear. He's not worried about Andre. It's all eyes on Helium, however, who takes a rather unorthodox line, you could say. isn't threatened for position from the likes of UK, but did have a nasty exit, gonna cost him time. UK almost spins, almost goes into the wall, somehow keeps it on track, and now will be threatened for position from the likes of big man Joe. Helium closing in on Andre. Andre trying his best to close in on Nuclear. Mind you, we're on the last 2 laps of the race. It's all to play for in this top 5. Meanwhile, at the back, Sicknick makes that position stick on the likes of Baby Shumi. Sector 2 and 3 light up yellow. That's a beast Ferrari. That's Mr. Wex. He retires on lap number 14, and that's a spin for Andre. Not something you want on lap number 14. And come lap 15 even, he's lost the front wing and he's lost a podium position, folks. That's a driver error gone wrong for Andre. He tumbles down the order. He will, just might, finish in the top 10. Now you see the gaps extended quite a bit in the top 5 with Big Man Joe on Helium. Who would have thought this was gonna happen, folks? As Helium has no front wing, folks, no front wing. So that's a race gone terrible for him. Trying to go wheel to wheel with the likes of Big Man Joe. I just wonder if it's a game glitch. Doesn't seem like it. He is losing time. Big Man Joe now poised for a possible podium. Yeah, let's shift back to Envy as he enters sector 2. No one to worry about as Helium's lost a front wing, and Andre stumbled down the order, is retired from the session even. Sector 1 lights up yellow as well. What a last 2 laps. It's been Hyrox 24 now. He's in the top 6. He's closing in for a position off of Helium. This is a familiar sight for Helium. Even in Saudi Arabia, he finished without a front wing, and now he finds himself in Singapore without a front wing. We see Envy entering sector 3 as we speak. He's doing a fantastic race. We got yet another retirement, and this time in sector 2 of Assassin X. Unfortunate to see 3 retirements on the penultimate and final laps of this race. Sector 2 and 3 light up yellow, and you can see that mark on the track map that has retired. Let's quickly jump to Envy. What a race he's driven. Clinical, you could say. Didn't get pole, but he will get a race win in the race to 0. He wins race number 7, Singapore, ahead of the likes of UK, his teammate for the day. If it stays this way, of course, I think Big Manager should get that final podium position, rightfully so. So this is the provisional race result, with Nuclear tumbling down the order, even having finished in the podium positions on track. Helium, however, without a front wing, yet again finishes the race in the top 5. P5 for him. So you can see these post-race time penalties being incurred by the drivers. Dalvin jumps up in a P6, Sicknick P7. What ending to a race, folks. That's what we like to see. Gauss really missed one bagger of a race. UK, rightfully so, the driver of the day. What a race he's driven. I believe all the way from P14, P15, all the way to the top on the podium position. For today, at least at race number 7, it's a McLaren 1-2. And it's Envy on the top step of the podium. You see Big Man Joe return to the podium of race to 0R as well, with UK and P2. Fantastic race. I wonder who picked off the fastest lap of the race as well. Curious to see. Things went completely terrible for the likes of Mr. Wex and Helium as well, and unfortunate for Andre having that spin on the straight, including with the likes of even Assassin X retiring on the final lap. Black Sheep receives the fastest lap of this race, 1 minute 37.114. Quite the banger lap. We didn't see him battle it out in the top 5. I'm pretty sure he can step away from this race a tad bit more happier than he started it. But then again, he did begin in P11. He started the race in P11 and finishes the race in P11 as well. UK will be a happy lad tonight, and with that, folks, we can leave it there. What a race it's been. What a race. And there is the final order. A lot of penalties incurred by these drivers. Unfortunate to see Mr. Wex have a not so great race around the track he loves so much. And for the folks who stay till the very end, for the folks watching even after the live session ends, thank you very much. Unfortunate we had a lot of issues with the stream itself. Hopefully we bring better experiences come the next race. Of course, as we head to Sochi Autodrome for race number 8, we'll see a lot more action there. See you again, folks, on Thursday night at 11 p.m.